Now at 5, getting public approval, a proposal to sell Neosho's water and wastewater plants. Plus, the first day of classes for some schools in southeast Kansas, and a warning about the spread of a contagious virus, protecting our kids from hand, foot, and mouth disease.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Neosho community members have the opportunity to make their opinions heard about a proposed sale of the city's water and wastewater systems. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The proposal is the subject of a town hall meeting that begins at 6:30 this evening. The city of Neosho is considering an agreement to sell the water and wastewater systems to Missouri American Water for $34.5 million. A first reading of the agreement was presented at Neosho's August 5th council meeting. If the deal is made, it'll have to be approved by the Missouri Public Service Commission. Now tonight, representatives from the city and Missouri American Water will be available at the Neosho Municipal Auditorium for community members to share their thoughts and ask questions about that proposal. Officials will outline the terms of the sale, benefits and challenges, and how the agreement could affect Neosho residents. We're going to have details on that proposal and tonight's town hall on KOAM News at 10. The school year is officially here for some Southeast Kansas students now. Northeast USD 246 in Arma is one of the few local districts that started today. The rest will start in the days and weeks to come. This is Arma's second year of a 4-day school week. Teachers introduce classroom expectations and help students find their lockers. As they navigated their way to each classroom, the high school principal reported a notable increase in underclassmen enrollment this year.
Really excited about our group of kids this year. I think we have a really good group. Kind of an interesting dynamic. We have 28 juniors, 28 seniors, but then we have 43 sophomores, 41 freshmen. So we have a huge, big for us, underclassmen, and then our upper classes are kind of small.
We spoke with a student entering her senior year. We're going to hear from her tonight about the challenges of navigating school as she prepares for her next phase after graduation. Getting on and off the school bus can be a routine part of a child's day, but for some, it can also be a moment of vulnerability. While abductions are rare, Johns Hopkins Medicine reports that most incidents involve children between the ages of 10 and 14, often occurring between 2 and 7 p.m. As these situations can happen anywhere, a martial arts instructor from the Forge in Joplin explains how children can protect themselves when encountering a stranger near the bus stop.
If they get close enough, you're going to take your entire hand, usually the hand that's with the same foot that's forward, and you're going to extend and smash the face as hard as you can. Okay? That will cause, at minimum, a reaction, at maximum, damage.
Johns Hopkins Medicine says you should start talking to your child about avoiding strangers at an early age. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty for a first look at the weather.
Well, it's turned out to be a pretty good Tuesday, actually, for us today. Partly sunny skies. We do still have a couple random showers out there in our northern counties. Not a huge deal. Most of you are going to stay dry if you are getting out throughout the evening hours, but a couple spotty guys from Iola, Fort Scott to Nevada, kind of drifting off toward the south and to the east. Not really any concern with those. If you did get caught underneath one of those this evening, they're not going to last long. Anything that does pop up is going to be gone. We're going to start near 70 on your Wednesday. Heading into Wednesday afternoon, again, a very slight chance there could be a pop-up shower. High temps right around 90. Through the evening, 80s into the 70s. Looks pretty good right now. It's 89 in Joplin, 88 in Pittsburgh. It's going to heat up, though. We're going to talk about that here in a bit.
All right, we'll catch you in a few. It was quite a sight in Carthage today when a two-vehicle crashed in a car into the front porch of a home. Police say the car collided with this pickup at the corner of Orner and Poplar Streets. The pickup spun and rolled. The car veered off the road through a grouping of trees and then struck the porch. The porch roof, as you see, collapsed onto the car. Police tell us one person was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. President Trump's plans to take over control of Washington, D.C.'s streets kicks into gear today with the Department of Justice meeting with city leaders and the D.C. National Guard mobilizing. This comes as the president is also preparing for a meeting this week with Russian President Vladimir Putin in an attempt to end the war with Ukraine. Tareen Small is at the White House with those stories.
Attorney General Pam Bondi met with Washington, D.C.'s mayor as President Trump has now placed the district's police force under federal control.
Last night, approximately 850 officers and agents were surged across the city. They made a total of 23 arrests.
D.C.'s police chief says her offices will work alongside federal partners and the National Guard to secure the district.
We know that we have to get illegal guns off of our street, and if we have this influx or enhanced presence, it's going to make our city even better.
Police data shows violent crime in D.C. has declined over the past year, while Trump says the nation's capital doesn't look good to other world leaders.
This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin.
The president said he intends to use Friday's meeting with his Russian counterpart in Alaska to determine how serious Vladimir Putin is about a peace deal with Ukraine.
The president of the United States getting in the room with the president of Russia, sitting face to face rather than speaking over the telephone, will give this president the best indication of how to end this war and where this is headed.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is dubious. He shared a new intelligence report on X saying that Russia is redeploying troops and forces in ways that suggest preparations for new offensive operations. Torian Small, CBS News, the White House.
Zelensky also said that Putin just wants the meeting as a way of claiming a personal victory, but will then continue his acts of war as before. Authorities in Georgia are issuing an update on the investigation into the deadly shooting at the CDC last Friday. CBS News has confirmed that the gunman, identified as 30-year-old Patrick White, fired more than 180 shots at buildings on the campus, shattering about 150 windows and killing a police officer. A law enforcement source says authorities were looking into the possibility that the shooter, who was found dead, believed the COVID-19 vaccines had made him sick. Some agency staff who spoke to CBS News under the condition of anonymity are blaming rampant misinformation for the attack and are calling for better security at their Atlanta headquarters. Still ahead, price trends.
The latest inflation report comes in better than expected. I'm Kelly O'Grady at the New York Stock Exchange with a look inside the numbers.
And next in Health Watch, how weight loss could impact the effectiveness of IFV treatments. Topping today's Health Watch, losing weight before beginning in vitro fertilization could increase the chances of pregnancy. Researchers from the University of Oxford found women who lost weight through diet and exercise before starting IVF had higher rates of pregnancy. But they caution any weight loss program should be discussed with a doctor first. It's time of year where pediatricians see an increase in a very contagious virus that can make kids pretty uncomfortable. Hand, foot, and mouth disease causes painful rashes and sores, with more than 200,000 cases in the U.S. each year, that's according to the CDC. Stephanie Stahl has more on how to prevent the spread.
Virus often spreads this time of year at daycare centers and summer camps.
Kids are coming in with rashes that are on their fingers, on their...
Our apologies, we're having some technical difficulties. We'll see if we can have that story for you a bit later. Researchers say they have identified a possible biomarker for long COVID, and if the results are confirmed by other studies, this could be the first indicator for identifying the disease, which has been difficult to diagnose. The study published in the journal Infection says there is growing evidence that COVID can persist in the body long after the initial infection. And a new study found a sneaky way to get people to make healthier and greener choices of restaurants. The University of Bristol study had a restaurant shuffle its menu items around, so on some days only healthier options were available. While the actual menu didn't change, diners began selecting healthier food with a lower carbon footprint more often. And that is a look at today's Health Watch. A little bit later, today's inflation report and the expected impact of tariffs.
Plus, our temperature is going to warm up a little bit more the rest of the week. Let's check that out coming up next. Well, it actually turned out to be a pretty nice Tuesday for us today. Warm, teetering hot, temperatures upper 80s to near 90, but still not too bad out there, but we are going to heat back up as we get into the second half of the work week. A few little scattered showers, couple little thunder showers out there. Not a big deal, mainly in our northern counties, but these are going to sink south and east over the next few hours. You can see this little line way ahead of it. That's an outflow boundary, so we don't have any concerns of anything strong or severe, but there are going to be a couple little guys that kind of shift south. If you get stuck underneath one of them, it's not going to last long. You can see from Nevada, Fort Scott, over towards Chanute and Yates Center. Just a few random little guys passing up. Let's go through time for you tonight. Anything that is out there now is going to be gone once we lose the heating of the day. We'll drop back upper 60s. As we go through the morning hours, mid 80s by noon. By the afternoon, near 90, probably 90 to about 91 for a high, and still slight chance for an isolated storm. I'm going to keep the forecast dry, but there's going to be one or two guys that are going to pop up tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night looks good. We drop back mid to upper 60s, comfortable again, but on Thursday, we start that warming trend. We go into low to mid 90s, and we're going to continue to go up as we go through the entire, really rest of the weekend to the weekend. 70 to start, 87 by noon, high temp of 90 as we get into Wednesday afternoon. It looks good right now, great shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Through the evening, 80s, 70s, eventually upper 60s later on tonight. It's warm, a little bit cooler Fort Scott, Nevada, where you have those clouds and a random shower. Everybody else, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. Humidity still kind of up there. Dew points sitting into lower 70s, so that makes it feel kind of sticky to muggy. And of course, it's August. We're going to see that over the next few days. So we have a heat index low to mid 90s across the region. Heat index will slowly creep up the next few days. Not terrible tomorrow, similar to what we are seeing today. And then once we get into Thursday, that heat index also kind of low to mid 90s. And then it creeps up a little more as we head into the weekend. We have these weak little waves kind of shifting through, but high pressure, which is back across southwest, will start to roll back in later on this week. That means that heat dome moves in for the weekend, so we really heat up across the region. It kind of meanders its way east and west as we go through next week, but it kind of sticks around, so we are going to see those hot temperatures returning once again. Let's go into Friday. Upper 90s to near 100. Saturday, upper 90s to near 100 degrees. We're going to do it again on Sunday, upper 90s to near 100. Very slight chances for rain over the next week or so. So it's good that we got some over the past couple days. 91 on your Wednesday. Let's go 94 Thursday, 97 on Friday, 99s over the weekend. Hot, humid, random little thunderstorms over the weekend into early next week.
But still haven't hit the triple digits, and we might just
fingers
come short
crossed
of that. You bet. We'll be right back. Pediatricians are particularly concerned about a contagious disease this time of year. Stephanie Stahl looks at how to prevent the spread.
This public pool in Chester, Pennsylvania closed for a day after a child who visited was diagnosed with hand, foot, and mouth disease.
Each of our centers across the Philadelphia and surrounding county area are seeing multiple cases.
Dr. Bob Sinsilla, the medical director of Vibe Urgent Care, says the contagious virus often spreads this time of year at daycare centers and summer camps.
Kids are coming in with rashes that are on their fingers, on their hands, they can be on their toes and feet, and then you have oral ulcerations, and it makes it difficult for children, especially younger children, to eat because of how painful and how much they burn.
The disease, which can also cause a fever, lasts for about a week, with symptoms appearing 3 to 6 days after being exposed.
It's commonly spread through water sources because of the way it spreads. If children don't clean themselves well enough to go when they go to the bathroom, it's spread from the fecal oral route. So people might end up getting pool water or camp water into their mouth.
And it can be spread by touching someone infected. Plus, the virus can live on surfaces for a short period of time. Is this just in children, or can adults get it too?
It's primarily in children, but certainly we do have adults that have younger children that may contract it from them that come in as well too.
To help prevent catching or spreading the disease, wash hands often, avoid touching your face, clean and disinfect surfaces, and avoid close contact with infected people. Over-the-counter medications can help reduce fever and pain. Doctors say the biggest risk linked to the virus is children can become dehydrated because it can be difficult to eat and drink. Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
People with hand, foot, and mouth disease are usually most contagious during the first week of the illness. Topping today's Consumer Watch, a new report shows the inflation rate remains steady in July, but there are worries that could change as tariffs start to have a wider impact on the economy. Kelly O'Grady reports from the New York Stock Exchange.
Summer road trips are a little more affordable, with gas prices down 30 cents a gallon from last year. And food inflation improved slightly in July, but staples like eggs and beef continue to see price increases because of shortages for both. Overall inflation remains steady at 2.7%. However, when you strip away gas and food, the core rate ticked up to 3.1%. Tariffs on foreign imports impacted prices for a few items like furniture and tools. Economists believe that will change.
What we do know is a lot of businesses are eating those smaller increases that they saw in the first few months of tariffs. I think towards the end of the year, they're going to start passing along those increases to consumers.
Sunrise Artisan Bath & Body in Columbia, South Carolina, sells products made with imported fragrances and essential oils from Europe, which are now being hit by tariffs.
The cost for ingredients for me went up by 15%.
Owner Tazima Brown says she'll have to raise prices.
Well, I've got to figure out how I'm going to pass that on to my customer. So it could be a situation where I'll eat 7% or 8%, and my customer now has to pay 7% more.
Here at the New York Stock Exchange, investors are hopeful that this latest inflation report, taken with that weaker than expected July jobs report, will encourage the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. Now, that board will meet next in September. Kelly O'Grady, CBS News, New York.
Paramount will soon be exclusive home of all Ultimate Fighting Championship events in an agreement with TKO Holdings worth more than $7 billion. The 7-year deal gives Paramount the right to distribute UFC events on Paramount Plus, with some set to simulcast on CBS starting next year. Paramount Global is also the parent company of CBS News. A final check of the forecast up next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, buying a new home has long been part of the American dream. So where are home prices headed? We're going to take a look at what is affordable. Then on KOAM News at 6 tonight, a Missouri teen awakes from a coma. Plus, we're going to check out the AJGA Junior Golf Tournament in Joplin. And Joplin High School starts football practice. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News, then KOAM News at 6. These are the good old days at the Interstate Fair Rodeo taking place in Coffeyville, Kansas. Today, exhibitors showcase their swine in hopes of winning a blue ribbon, and riders showed off their skills in the PRCA Rodeo slack. One exhibitor talks about the preparation it takes to compete in that swine show.
Exercise, walking them with their head up, building their endurance to the heat, and just making them look good, their skin and hair, make sure it's conditioned and everything.
That fair ends on Saturday. It's fair weather, that is to say it's hot out there, which is typical.
It is, and it's going to stay hot, as in fact get even hotter as we head toward the weekend. 91 on Wednesday, still not too bad. 94 Thursday, upper 90s to near 100 as we head toward the weekend.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.